Hey everybody, this is Doug with Artfully Rogue, and in this video I'm going to make a very large infinity table, 8 feet long, 30 inches wide, and it's going up to the ASU SkySong lobby to replace the rolling ball machine that I made several years ago.
So this is kind of a replica table of the rolling ball table, and I let it sit for so long that all of the plastic adhesive is stuck to the sides of the plexiglass, and it's almost impossible to get off without having to try to sand it off, which, as you can see, makes it all cloudy. So decided to make an infinity table out of this thing.
Okay, so there's a couple of components for an infinity table: a mirror and then glass. Now this is the mirror I picked up off Craigslist. I made a very poor attempt at trying to cut a straight line in this glass, and you'll see here in just a little bit where it broke in 2 separate places. However, I'm not too worried about it at this point. I'm going to make the interior decor cover all that up. The other component is just plain glass. Now you'll need 2 pieces of glass on top, and then on those pieces of glass you're going to have to put on like a tinted film. That way it reflects the light back into the mirror. Now unfortunately, because of filming or whatever, I did not get that portion of the process. But I'll leave some information down in the description that talks about that a little bit more in detail. But once this mirror gets dropped in, you fill your box with the decoration that you want to fill in there. And then right on top of this box here are going to be 2 pieces of glass that has tinted film on it. And that's what kind of helps create the illusion. So looking at this, it fits in there pretty nicely. I'm not too worried about the damage to the side of the glass. That's going to get covered, as you'll see. And on this infinity table, I decided to do a kind of like a mine shaft type theme. I don't know why, but it just seemed the best use of space. Sometimes I've seen just like almost just infinity lights, and that's all you saw. So this has a little bit more of a theme to it. Once I did all of the pine, this is a test fit. I'm putting them all in there individually, just to kind of see how they lay out. A few of them I had to make a little bit more narrow, but as you can see, the reflection from the mirror is already kind of doing its job. The glass that I'm talking about actually sits on the top of this wood.
All right, first attempt, not too bad. As you can see, where the glass is broken here, got a bit of a gap. But we'll figure that out. The glass is gonna have to come back out because I gotta trim this up.
So I decided to build a piece of truss that's going to go in the center of the table. It's going to basically fall in line where the 2 pieces of glass lay in on top of everything. And so it hides the seam of the glass basically. And it'll give you another component in the infinity table that will go all the way down into infinity. So now I'm taking the individual pieces of wood, I'm putting them all together by gluing them. This way I'm dropping in single panels as opposed to single pieces of wood. It's going to be a little bit easier to handle. So each wood panel is going to be framed in some flat bar and then also some steel angle. Right now I'm just punching holes because my intention is to use a product that I created several years ago called the shear lags. I had a client in California that was doing a restaurant. They wanted a hot rivet. However, you couldn't do a hot rivet because of the structure. So I created these shear lags that basically have a hex head top, and when you drive them in with a drill, they break off and leave a domed head like a rivet. Boom, there they are. Now these are made out of mild steel, and you have to do a 1/4 inch pilot hole, and they snap right off once they hit bottom. So I'm going to put these shear lags in as decoration because, hey, I've got about 25,000 of them sitting in boxes because the client pulled the plug on the project and I ended up stuck with all these things. So if you're interested, you can use them in a project. Go to my website, artfullyrogue.com, and you can order some. So now I'm just going to trim up the side of the wood panels so that they're all the same height. This way, when the glass sits on there, it will actually sit flush to the top of the table, and it's just going to be a little bit cleaner look. So I'm going to drop in this one panel. As you can see, the angle is on the bottom, and this is what's going to cover up that glass break that I had earlier on. So that's why I'm not too concerned about having that broken glass underneath there. So the next thing I'm going to work on will be the electrical. So this is behind one of those wooden panels, and I'm going to cut a trough right from this hole and down the back of the wood. So when I run my electrical wiring, it will basically exit through a junction box, through the hole, and then follow the groove down below the table. All of this just so that I can actually bring back the rolling ball table and do some work on it. So these are just junction boxes that I picked up, and I tossed them in a bucket of acid. Same thing with this little junction box. That way it removes the galvanization, gives it a little bit more of an older look. And then I picked up some of this twisted wire, kind of that vintage twisted wire off Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description down below for that if you're interested. And these porcelain light fixtures, pick those up. I tried to scuff them up a little bit to give them a little bit more wear, but I was a bit hesitant because I didn't want to break these also. They don't scuff very easily. This stuff is hard. So these are 40-watt bulbs that I'm using. I kind of like that vintage look. I did end up going some larger bulbs. So here, as you can see, I'm just threading the wire through the grooves and down into the bottom of the table. And now it's time to get under the table so I can actually do some of the electrical there. And as you can see, it's time for Doug to do a little bit more exercising because that belly.
VHB tape. That's how I'm going to attach this outlet box to the steel. Alcohol to clean the steel, and then we'll peel off the VHB tape here and then stick them on. And then I need to put some outlets for each one of the plugs, and then I'll be able to plug in the lights to here. Now we're going to put a motion sensor somewhere tagged into here, and this will plug right into the lobby outlet, which will power it up. I have no idea how the sound is in here. Probably sounds like a tunnel. I can tell you how my eyesight is in here. It sucks. I tell you, getting older. I'm still waiting for the point when they say, oh yeah, you get older so much better. No, it's not. At least I haven't found it yet. Everything freaking hurts for no reason. It's like you go to bed fine one night and you wake up the next day hurting. Like, what the freak did I do? I didn't do anything. Okay, maybe I climbed under a table that was a little tight, but nothing strenuous. Okay, now the LED lights kind of have their own plug, so we can plug that in here. I'm going to put that here. We have some extra LEDs. I'm going to get dressed up. And then I have some cables from our our 4 light bulb lights. I'm going to put a plug on this, like so, and then that's going to get plugged in to here as well.
And so these are the LED lights that I am putting around the top. Even with the light bulbs, I just didn't have enough light. So adding the LEDs I thought would kind of boost it up a little bit. So now I'm going to cover the Lexan that has all that adhesive stuck to the sides with this rusted panel. Now I'm using Gorilla adhesive here. This stuff is like super strong. This is the first time I'm using this on a project. So if you are looking for a strong adhesive, Gorilla's the one. And here we go. Now you can't even really see the glass on top, but it has a reflective film on it, and that's what helping create this illusion. But there's your center truss that goes all the way down, your LED lights, your vintage lights. And then here's what it looks like inside the lobby of ASU's SkySong. One of the things that I was a little disappointed in is the reflection from the overhead lights. But realistically, there's just not much I can do about that.
Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. It is greatly appreciated. Now, keep your eyes open on the channel because I'm going to show you how I built this tiny house on this old flatbed truck that was here on the property when I bought it. See you in the next video.